this, let's get started with our first session. So our first speaker for today will be Mr. Shiladitya Mallik. He is the Chief Business Officer at Mobillium Labs, San Francisco Bay, United States. So he completed his MBA from ISB with interest in technology, entrepreneurship, business development, and strategic marketing. He has hands-on experience in working in startup environments as a co-founder of Mobillium Labs, which is a successful enterprise mobility startup. Previously, he headed international business and strategy marketing at the Center of Executive Education at ISB. He has deep experience in IT service space and is also responsible for new business development, project management, client relationship management in United Kingdom utility vertical. So I'll hand it over to you, Shiladitya. You can see your screen now and present it.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Vishnu, for that very kind introduction. Very good afternoon to all of you. Let me first share my screen. Is my screen visible to everyone? Vishnu, can you see my screen?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. So thanks for the kind introduction. So I'm Shiladitya Mallik. I'm the co-founder of SmartWinner, which is one product from the Mobillium Labs stable. SmartWinner is a gamified enterprise sales enablement platform. So what I want to do today is to take you through a journey. And the journey is with regards to how do we go from product to or from idea to a product in the marketplace, and what steps which we need to take in order to arrive at our destination. And as Professor was mentioning, in this post-pandemic era, a lot of things are changing, and research shows that during recessions, the maximum number of successful startups get formed. So I'm sure during these times, a lot of new entrepreneurs are going to come out in India, and they're going to take the country forward. So we will cover things in 3 steps. Number 1, we are going to talk about how to think about business ideas. What are some of the things you need to take into consideration? Second, we will talk about a framework through which you can transform an idea to product. So what is that journey? What is the step-by-step things which you need to do? And third, we will take a case study of Airbnb. Everyone knows Airbnb. We will take that case study so that you can understand that the theory or the framework which I'm talking about, how it can be applied or how it has been applied in real life. Okay, so let's start. Before I start, there are certain myths about ideas. There are certain myths which when I speak with some new entrepreneurs or some wannabe entrepreneurs, there are certain myths they have in their mind. And I think let's first tackle these myths. The first myth is, if I have a great idea, I will have a great business. That is not correct. A great idea doesn't equate to a great business. Ideas are dimes a dozen. Ultimately, you really have to execute properly to ensure that the idea transforms into business. That's number 1. Second, also the fact is that idea can be great, but if it doesn't solve a customer pain point, if the customers are not willing to pay for it, then that idea will not be a great business opportunity, right? And in today's discussion, we're going to talk about, how to take an idea to product as part of a business plan, right? So we need to find the ideas which actually can be translated into a sustainable business value proposition. So this is the first myth. Second, ideas should not be shared. So often we see, and sometimes in LinkedIn also, you can see that someone will, write, I'm working on a stealth mode project or a stealth mode startup. They don't want to discuss what they're doing. I think that's incorrect. That's wrong. The ideas, the more you share your ideas, the more number of discussions which you have with your potential customers, with your potential collaborators, the earlier you can get a signal with regards to, okay, is this really meaning something? Is this idea really something which is going to transform into a valid business proposition, or I'm just running after mirages, right? So it's better to share the idea early on. Trust me, for every idea you think about, maybe someone has already thought about it. So don't worry too much about it, and you can share the ideas. Third, working on multiple ideas will increase the chance of success. So sometimes we think that, okay, let me work on 2-3 ideas simultaneously, right? Do one, A, B, C together, and one of them will succeed. That's also not the case. We really need to have what we call focus, right? So if you don't have focus, then you really cannot translate an idea into product, and you need to really have a laser sharp focus. So don't work on multiple ideas. Obviously, initially when you're setting up things, you're just figuring out your business proposition. Obviously, you're going to think about multiple ideas, but once you're finalized on an idea, give it some time, focus on it, and don't let it go. And the final myth I want to talk about is that someone already has thought about an idea, right? So you start your research and you say, hey, I had this great idea, but looks like it's not unique. Someone has already thought about it, so maybe I should stop thinking about it. That's also wrong, right? Because idea by itself is not the business. Idea plus execution is business, right? So you might take the same idea, you might execute it differently. You might take the same idea, you might transform it for your local situation. So you can take an idea from US, but you need to transform it in the Indian context, right? So it doesn't mean that if someone has already thought about an idea, you're not going to work on that. Okay, so these are the four myths of ideas which I wanted to start off with. Moving on, we were saying that ideas by themselves doesn't mean so much, and we should not be worried about someone else already have that idea, right? So here are a couple of examples. So any one of you have heard about Blockbuster? So Blockbuster was the topmost movie rental service. In those days, they didn't used to have streaming, but movies used to come in DVDs, and Blockbuster was the foremost movie rental service, started in 1985, and they were the number one player. And then in 1997, there was a new player in the market, Netflix. And they also started off not with streaming, they also started off with renting DVDs. The only difference was Blockbuster used to take a lot of fines if you forget to return the DVD on time, and Netflix said, we are not going to charge you anything. At one time, you can keep 3 DVDs and you can keep them for as long as possible, as long as you want. Okay, so same idea, different execution, different time period, and Blockbuster went bankrupt in 2010, and we know that next Netflix is everyone's favorite streaming platform today. Second example, Yahoo, the preeminent search engine in 1994. They were the leaders in search by miles and miles ahead. Most number of search done. But then in 1998, there was an upstart, Google, and same idea, same product, right? You have a search bar, you enter, you get results, right? So as similar an idea as it can ever get to be. But Google obviously went far, far, far ahead compared to Yahoo, right? So just to focus on the point that the idea can be the same, but the execution matters. Here is a great quote from Steve Jobs, who said that, to me, ideas are worth nothing unless executed. They are just multipliers. Execution is worth millions. So what does it mean? What does Steve Jobs mean when he said that ideas are just nothing until they are executed? So here's a concept that idea is actually an execution multiplier. So the business value which you get, it's a combination of your idea and your execution. So if you think about that, a bad idea is worth 1 point, average idea 5 points, good idea 10 points, so on and so forth. And a weak execution will give you $1,000, average execution will give you $10,000, and amazing execution is going to give you $10 million, right? So hence, if you have a great idea with no execution, you will just make $20. But even if you have a weak idea, but you have great or good execution, you will at least make $100,000. And if you have an amazing idea and if you have an amazing execution, so you can actually make $200 million, right? So execution is the key, and that's really, really important. Idea is just the beginning of the journey, but execution is where the rubber meets the road, and that's where we need to focus. Now, if we say that, okay, idea, is not everything, but we really need to figure out what idea we should start working on before we really put our heart and soul on the execution, then the question becomes, that how do you validate your idea, right? How do you validate what you have thought, whether it has got market potential? So here, the first thing is that, all of us are techies. I believe most of us who are joining in today, we are from the technology background, and we look everything from a technology lens, right? A programming puzzle to be solved. But world doesn't behave that way. The business doesn't behave that way. So if you want to make a sustainable idea and transform into a profitable business or a product, you have to actually switch over and think from the perspective of the customer. So you have to think about three things. From a customer's point of view, when a customer faces a certain situation, what he wants to do and what he wants to achieve. So let's take this example from Uber's point of view. So what is Uber saying? Uber is saying that whenever I'm a customer, I want to travel, I want to get a taxi very, very easily, right? I don't want to go out in the road and wait for 10 minutes. I want to get a taxi very, very easily. I don't want to haggle with regards to the price, that it might cost 100 rupees or it might cost 500 rupees, the way we kind of haggle with a auto wala in India, for example, right? And I want to go to my destination safely and soundly, right? So if you think about the perspective of the customer, Uber ticks in all the boxes, right? You can very easily find the cabs at any time, which will be kind of predetermined fare, and you can go to your destination, right? Second, let's take the case of Airbnb, right? So again, when I want to travel, or when I'm traveling into a new city, I want to book a room in low cost, but at the same time, I want to stay safely and comfortably, and probably I'm traveling for vacation, and I don't want to just have a very sterile experience in a hotel room. I want to seep into the culture of the country or the region. So maybe I can stay with a local. So it's a room sharing or experience, right? So that's the Airbnb value proposition. Again, makes perfect sense from the perspective of the customer. Let's take the last example, Google, right? I want to find information, and when I want to search the whole internet, right? I need some information. I want to search the whole internet, but internet is very vast, so I want all the relevant information. So Google brings you the knowledge of the world organized in a very simple and easy to use interface, and it gives you the most relevant information through their PageRank algorithm, right? So all these three, if you think about it, the technology, obviously Google has great technology, right? One of the most technologically advanced companies out there, but all those technologies are hidden. You just see a white page and you see a search bar, everything else follows, and it starts with the customer need of finding all the information or finding the most relevant information in specific to the user search query. Again, because we are techies, so often we think about creating a new product or bringing a new product to market in terms of a waterfall model. I'm sure all of you have been exposed to the waterfall model of software development, where it talks about the requirements and specification and design. Then we go to implementation, verification, and maintenance, right? This is a great framework if the problem is known and if the solution is known. But when you are thinking about innovation, when you're thinking about bringing a new product to a market, solving a new emergent customer pain point, then this model fails very, very badly, because neither we know the problem area so much, nor we know the potential solutions to that problem. So we need a new model to think about how do you move from idea to product in case of a innovative product or services or solution. And here is one great framework, the framework of Lean Startup by Eric Rice. And it talks about a 4-step iterative process. So difference, if you see, this is a linear process, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is an iterative process, right? So we have our plan A. So we have got some idea, some spark. We decide to kind of, invest time, money, and energy. But very quickly, we do go on a customer discovery journey so that we can test the problem, right? Because our understanding of the problem space is not very high, so we want to test the problem very, very quickly. And then we go to the next step, which is customer validation. So we understand the problem area, then we quickly create something, a solution. May not be the best solution in the world, but at least focuses on the customer pain points. And then we test that particular solution with customer validation. And with that feedback, either we find that, okay, I've got the right idea and it is validated, so I will further iterate my assumptions, or I can see that, you know what, this is not the right idea, but maybe there is something which we can take from this learning and we can pivot it and we can have some other idea in the adjacent areas, right? So this is the framework for the lean startup model. And I believe if you are setting up a new company, a new product, a new service, this is a much, much better mental model to have in your mind compared to a waterfall model. So what does this plan A, the document, what does it kind of, how does it look? What does it actually comprise of, right? First thing, we need to talk about the problems, right? And obviously, when you start thinking about the problems, you might think that, okay, there are 100 problems which I can solve, right? So we are in the sales enablement space, and when we started this ideation phase, we were thinking about, okay, we can solve the problem of data discovery, we can solve the problem of having a great CRM system, we can solve the problem of giving the right knowledge to the sales reps. But we started with only one or two of these problems, and then you focus on the solution and don't think too much deep detail about the solution. Just think about what are the top 3 features which can actually help the most in terms of driving the driving away the pain point of the customer. Also, you need to know that what are the key matrices which you need to focus on to know that if this idea is successful, what the numbers are going to look like, right? So you need to have a data-driven approach. Now, once you have some idea about the problem space, the solutions, and the things which you want to measure, then you create your unique value proposition, right? So unique selling proposition, your USP, right? It will be a single clear message which will state that why people want to buy your product or services or solution. What does it do? Who is it for? Why is it needed? And this is where you really, really need to spend a lot of time, because as we were talking about before, ideas are already there. People are already working on some ideas very similar to yours. This is where your uniqueness, your experience comes into play and really makes it stand out, right? Once you've thought about that, then you need to think that what do you have special which your competitors don't have? So if we take the case of Uber, when Uber started off, who were the competitors? The competitors were the taxi business, right? So in the US, the taxi business is a regulated business, which means they have to follow rules and regulation. They cannot dynamically change their fare. Their fare is fixed by the government. But Uber, because when they started, they were unregulated, so they could come up with very low price. They could have a surge fare, which was an great innovation at that time. So since they were not regulated, so that was their unfair advantage, right? They took that unfair advantage and they used that unfair advantage against the incumbents who were the taxi operators of the time. You have to also think about who would be my channels, right? When I have a product or services, how do I reach the customer? What will be the medium for me to reach the customer? What will be the customer acquisition cost along all these different channels? And obviously, the most important question is that who would be my customer? And when we start off, it looks like, if we can have a very large customer base, if we can, if my solution is targeted to everyone, it seems to be a great idea. But that's not the case. Trust me, when you start off, you really need to have a very, very narrow focus and just focus on one sub-segment of customers. So when Uber first started, it only started in San Francisco, and it started as a high-end black car. Black car essentially is a very high-end limousine or a Mercedes, right? So that was a service the local taxi operators were not using or not providing. So they had a very, very differentiated product focused on only people who have high willingness to pay for that particular product. But that's the way they got entry into the market, and then they kept innovating and they kept going down market. But when they started off, they had a very small set of target audience. So that is very, very important. And then obviously you need to understand what will be your cost structure if you're developing a software product. So, how much I need, how many developers I need to have, how much money I have to spend in sales and marketing, so on and so forth. And finally, the most important point is that how much revenue I can get. And this is a crucial thing, because if you go today with an idea to a potential customer and say, hey, this is an idea, what do you think? We as human beings, we don't like to say no. Even if it's a very, very bad idea, people are going to say, looks like it's a good idea. I think it's going to work. I wish you all the best. So you really have to think about and really need to dig deep into the fact that whether people are willing to part with money to buy your service. And that's the crucial test. And that's the reason it's very important to get a small version of your product launched, only to target a very small section of the customers, and see that if they're willing to pay money. If they're willing to pay money, which means they see value, and that means you have a good idea. So this is the overall framework. I know it's a theoretical framework. So let's now take a step-by-step approach or look at how this framework plays out in case of Airbnb. So over the next 5-6 slides, what I'm going to talk about is how Airbnb used this model to fine-tune their approach. And I'm going to just show you the initial pitch deck of Airbnb, which they first sent to the investors when they were raising first money. No one has ever kind of heard about Airbnb at that time. Their logo was different, everything was different, but the idea is the same, on which Airbnb has become a multi-billion dollar company today, right? So this is the Airbnb first pitch deck, and at that point of time, it was called bed and breakfast, not even Airbnb. So they have not even got the name correct. As in, you could see the logo was different, the color was different, everything was different. But this was their value proposition, and the value proposition still remains true, right? Book room with locals. Now, obviously, you can book entire apartments, not only rooms, rather than hotels. So they were pitting themselves against the competition, who were the hotels, and they were you can book rooms with the locals instead of going to a very, very pricey hotel in a city. So this was their first slide. And then they talk about the problem. So we talked about the problem in their framework, and what they're saying that price is a very, very important consideration for customers, right? When you're planning a hotel booking, you're going for vacation to a new country, for example, obviously you might not be willing to pay very high price. So price is a big concern. The second thing is, if you're a traveler, if you're not a business traveler, if you're a traveler, if you're a tourist, hotel gives you a very, very sanitized experience of the city, right? If you go to Paris and you stay in a hotel, and if you go to Rome and you stay in a hotel, and if you go to New York, you stay in a hotel, the hotel experience is same, right? So you don't feel the essence of Paris or Rome or New York. But if you can live with a local, then you get a much, much deeper experience, right? And third, there is no easy way which was existing at that point of time to book a room with a local or becoming a host, right? So people who who were willing to share a room with a foreign traveler, they didn't have an online platform to do so. So price was a concern. Hotels were not good enough for tourists. And as you can see, Airbnb at that point of time only catered to budget tourists. And we were talking about, when you start, you need to really have a strong focus, a narrow focus on your customer segment. So when they started off, they only wanted to cater to tourists and who want a cheap accommodation, not all the tourists also, right? So what is the solution they came up with? They said that we are going to create a web platform where users who have got rooms, they can rent out their rooms, and people who want to travel to new cities, they can book rooms very, very easily. So what is the value proposition for the customer? They can save money. That's obviously a very, very strong draw for people who are in the budget conscious segment, right? And then as a host, you can make money. Excellent. So tourists can save money, hosts can make money while sharing culture, because you're living with a local in Paris, you can share their culture. So it's a great win-win for both the parties, both the tourists and the hosts. And then market validation. So they wanted to check that, okay, if this is a great idea, have anyone thought about it? And we were talking about this before, right? All great ideas, people probably already have thought about it. And they said, yes, people have already thought about it. There is a site called couchsurfing.com, and they had 630,000 listings. So people are already doing it. But couchsurfing is slightly different. So they wanted a different execution path. And then there are 17,000 temporary housing listings on San Francisco and New York in Craigslist. Craigslist is a kind of a Sulega kind of ad board in the US, and there are 17,000 listings there, which means people don't have a platform like Airbnb, so they are listing in a directory listing instead of going to some place like Airbnb. So there is market validation. There is a problem. People are already putting up these advertisements, right? So they created the first iteration of Airbnb, which is you can search by city and you can review the listing. So Craigslist, there is no listing, no reviews. Couchsurfing, there is no review. So you don't know whether you're going to an unknown place or unknown city. You don't know whether the host is good. You don't know whether the accommodations are up to your standard. So they started with the review feature, and then you can book in just one click, right? So this was their product. And then if you think about business model, and we said that if you cannot figure out your revenue, you can never make a business plan and you will just waste your time. So you have to think about how to make money, because we are ultimately thinking about creating a sustainable business, right? So what they said that they're going to take 10% commissions, and they were thinking about that, if they even have a 10%, 15% share of the total travel market, it comes to around 10.6 million. And if they take even $20 of average fee, and for the budget conscious traveler, they would be willing to pay $70 a night. And if they take a $20 fee, they have a $200 million business, right? So they established all these things even before starting off. And then your channel. So how do they reach to, you have got your minimum website. Airbnb had built the website. They know the market is good, but they didn't want to spend a lot of money before kind of, figuring out, okay, is this really worth my time? So can I check like, my idea in a small scale? And where can you check? A great time is that when you have this kind of Oktoberfest or Summerfest or Eurocup, any sort of large event in a city, what happens, the hotel capacity in the city is very quickly filled up, right? So people don't have enough free hotel rooms to stay. And that's the time they launched Airbnb in those cities, and people, they couldn't find place in the hotel and they were looking for alternate accommodation, and they all flocked to Airbnb and they started giving rave reviews. And next time then when they were coming back, the same tourists, not for the festival, maybe for some other reason, they continue to use Airbnb, right? They also created some partnership, right? So if you go to Kayak, which is a travel website, or Orbitz, which is a travel website, you could actually find Airbnb listings at that time. And in fact, they also started posting in Craigslist. So people were posting their accommodations in Craigslist. Airbnb was copying those accommodations and adding to Airbnb site and posting it back. So that helped them to get a lot of good traction. Finally, they were also very, very conversant with the competition, because sometimes we might want to, the common thinking is that I should start a business in an area where there is no competition. I think that's a very, very bad idea. Any idea which has got market potential, you will obviously find some of the people who are already playing it. They might not be doing it in the best way as you are doing it, but they are definitely doing it in some way or the other, right? So they kind of looked at the competition and they created a 2x2 matrix. As you go up, this is like more affordable, this is more expensive, and if you go to the left, it is offline transaction, and on the right, it is online transaction. And as you can see, Airbnb wanted to be an affordable online transaction. They didn't want to play everywhere. Right now, they are playing in many other places, but when they wanted to start, they just focused on a very narrow segment, affordable online transactions, right? And what were their competitive advantage? Because they have a very, very narrow focus on the customers. They understood their market very well. So they were the first to market for this. I will not say first to market. This was like, first to market in terms of their specific booking, but Couchsurfing and some other format was there. They gave hosts a lot of incentives. Similarly, the Uber used to give a lot of incentive to the drivers, right? They can list, and they used to send photographers to these houses so that they will take wonderful photographs, and it looks very, very appealing to the tourists, right? It was very easy and simple to use, very simple website. And they used to have name profiles and reviews, and obviously very simple and designer brand, which we all love and use today, right? So what we saw right now was that, okay, this is a framework, what we need to think about ideation from the very beginning, what are some of the steps which we need to do. And we saw a case study about Airbnb. Again, obviously this is because of limitation of time, we can only do so much, we cannot really go into much deeper level. But some concluding thoughts: number one, that whenever you are thinking about an idea, you really need to find a customer pain point, right? You need to find a pain point for which the customer is willing to pay, and only work on those ideas where there is a willingness to pay from the customer's point of view. Second, focus on 1 to 3 features. Don't focus on 20 features. No, right? Focus on 1 or 2 or 3 killer features, right? A 10x feature, 10 times better, only one feature, but 10 times better than the competition. So when Zoom started, if you think about it, there was like Cisco was there and Skype was there and many other players were there, but Zoom very quickly became the leader. Why? Because they had only one great feature: the call will not drop. Even in a poor network connection, the call will not drop, right? Very simple feature, very difficult to do from an engineering perspective, but a 10x feature. No other provider at that point of time could guarantee that even in a poor network, my call is not going to drop. I can still see the video without any pause, right, or lag. And then you need to create a MVP, or a minimum viable product. Don't put all the bells and whistles and spend 2 years and 3 years into a product without going into market validation. Create a very quick and dirty solution. Go back to your customer, get their feedback, and iterate over that, right? That's the best way to progress. This is my next point. Go to the customer to get feedback. Don't sit in your own armchair or only discuss with your team that this is probably the best feature I want to add. No, only the customers know which are the best features. Go to the customer, check with them regularly, get their feedback, incorporate those feedbacks into your product. And finally, you have to constantly iterate on your idea, constantly, right? So if a product doesn't get built in one day, you have a very seed of an idea, you constantly iterate and get feedback, and that's the way you go to the next level and take a successful idea or an initial idea to a successful product. So I'll stop at this time, and if there is any questions, Vishnu, I'll be more than happy to take.
I have been listening very carefully, Shiladitya, and excellent points. I will cherish these last points that you have mentioned and will apply in my business every day. So very important points that everybody have to remember. Any entrepreneur has to at least look at the last slide very importantly. So thank you so much for your time, and sorry for the delay. There are certain questions, Shiladitya, but very important and nice questions also. But the next speaker is waiting because of the delay in starting, and he also has to leave. So we will answer these questions at the end of the session.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for your time. So it was a pleasure interacting with everyone, and hopefully, I could at least give my 2 cents. So thanks for that.
Thank you so much, Shiladitya. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
Over to you, Vishnu.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. So let's move on to our next speaker, who is Mr. Rayapu Boyapaty. He'll be talking about entrepreneurship in corporates, right? So he is the talent leader for GST ISA region, besides being the location HR head for IBM Hyderabad. He has over 20 years of experience, professional work experience, and is a great mentor, is a great leader for all of you. Over to you, Rayapu. Rayapu, sir, your audio is muted, looks like.
Okay, great. Can you hear me now, Vishnu?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks, Vishnu. Thanks, Anu. I think post-lunch, listeners are made to, see the slides and made to hear a couple of pointers out there. But I think I'll try to be short and sweet in the interest of time, and see if I can get some time for questions as well. That's I also want to learn. So learning is always has to be two ways, right? I hope you can see my screen. Vishnu, can you confirm?
Yeah, we can see your screen, sir.
Okay, all right. So when Anu spoke to me about talk about entrepreneurship, I was wondering, I'm a corporate world. Why am I talk? Why should I be talking about entrepreneur? I deliberated a little bit. Then I said, why not? I think every employee, in some aspect or the other, is also expected to be entrepreneur. Then I put myself in the shoes of an entrepreneur. Then I was trying to search for some material to talk to you guys in terms of what does it take to be an entrepreneur. Now that's where I said one word that really struck me and struck me very hard is being daredevil. Now, now when we say daredevil, it sounds to be a little aggressive, and it sounds to be hitting on your face, right? Now, before I talk about being daredevil, let me talk about cowards, which is the opposite of being daredevil, right? So cowards are those who are in the corporate world, if I have to relate to the terms of being risk averse. Now, research proves that 80%, 85% of people in the corporate world are risk averse. Now, when I say it's a very huge statement to make, if you really look at some of the companies which have lasted for long and some lasted for decades and doesn't find any relevance today. Let's talk about or no, any relevance or no relevance, right? Let's talk about some of the companies who started really big, who really made their presence felt. And today they're struggling. Look at companies like GE. GE was the sought after MNC before many of these Ubers and Microsofts of the world to come. Now, some of the companies, and I can keep talking about, companies which have thrived, which have lasted long, still have kind of trying to find their feet in today's times. But I think the way we miss the bus is being risk averse, and they say 85% of people are fall into that category of people. The other aspect of being a coward in a corporate world is to have fear of failure. Anything and everything that you want to do, you keep thinking about, do I fail in this instance? Does it get me a success? All of these second thoughts that come, for you to make strides forward. And the other one is to close-minded attitude, right? Can't see larger picture, and something wrong with the text there. But close-minded being, for me, in the corporate world, can't see a larger picture. Now, how do I relate this to being a coward versus being a daredevil? Now, daredevil, like I said, sounds to be very, how would I say, negative in its connotation, and sounds to be very aggressive. Now, in its literal terms, being daredevil means it's a reckless person, who enjoys doing dangerous things or unknown things. Now, these are in the fashion shows or in the reality shows called wildcard entries. These are people who are fearless, people who are raring to go. They don't want to, hold back. They don't have the fear of failure, but want to make their best foot forward and try and venture in the unknown things. It's a great quality. Treasure the unknown is the other way I would put them as. Now, think of the positive side of being daredevil. Daredevils are in the corporate world are entrepreneurs who are in the pursuit of opportunity beyond resources, risks, or loss of money. Now, why am I saying resources, risks, or a loss of money? Entrepreneurs or CEOs or MDs of the organizations have to somewhere, with all the automation, with all the technology being available, have to thrive on resources. You got to have people to run your hands and legs for you to run your or execute your strategy that you keep making in your boardrooms, right? You got to have resources, but they are beyond resources. They think beyond resources. Now, any entrepreneur cannot run their business without keeping in mind or factoring one of the big facets of their being entrepreneurship is risks. If you are a risk averse, then sorry, don't try to be an entrepreneur. You have to be risk averse. You have to be risk taking, and your risk taking ability has to be huge in size and scale. Now, no entrepreneur will start their business for charity, right? Any business or any entrepreneur would run their business to make money, and to make money consistently and for a longer period of time. Now, that brings me to the point that now I try to be risk-taking man. I try to be wanting to go for the idea that I think in my mind. But if you really can't think of, failure, and like what Jeff Bezos, one of the successful entrepreneur in today's times, talks about being failure. He says, I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret. I'm okay to fail. But I knew one thing that I might regret is not trying. Now, this is a great quality of an entrepreneur. Keep trying. Keep trying. Against the background of, on your left hand side, you see a small quote there, right? Fail small. What does it mean? Fail small is like I was overhearing Shiladitya who spoke about don't try to make larger strides, but start thinking small and start thinking with your ideas which are smaller in nature and try and make them big. Now, when you fail in small, you will have your lessons learned. When you have your lessons learned, they keep hitting you hard every time and again. What should you do with your resources? What should you do with your strategies that you made up with your team members? What should you do if you run into losses? Say situations like COVID would come. Today it's COVID, tomorrow some AI, technology will eat you up, and after tomorrow something else. So it's good to fail, and it's good to fail in small size. Secondly, fail faster. Now, this is a very interesting statement to make. Why would anybody want to fail and fail that too for faster in nature? I think it's a great statement for us to believe. Why should we fail faster is because the faster that you live in your time and in your current phase of life, the faster your ideas can get sold off. Today, we spoke about Uber. We spoke about latest technologies like, say, all your food apps or your traveling apps which have come. Some thrive, some don't. Now, with the advent of latest technologies being available, if you cannot run or if you cannot execute your ideas faster, then chances that some other younger, smarter gentleman would come and take away your idea or better than your idea, and then fail faster and move faster strides forward. So it's not it's extremely important to fail faster for you to fail well. Now, what does it mean to be fail well? This typically means, in other words, I would put it as, what lessons did you learn from the failures you've had? Did you ever reflect back and see what are those 2 3 key messages that you take away from the strategy one that you set up for year one, and you were disaster? What did I do for year two? Now, every time one must keep reflecting on what are the lessons learned that for me to fail, and in some areas I've grown, in some areas I've really failed miserably. So I would go with in saying fail smaller in nature for you to make bigger strides. Fail fast, don't waste time with the idea that you have. Third, fail well in terms of lessons learned. And last but not the least, what Jeff says, and keep trying in your failures, right? Now, with that, I think the 2 slides that I have is I will talk about for you to be daredevil, you got to believe in, why should I be in daredevil? I mean, just because somebody says I should be a daredevil to be an entrepreneur is because we live in a VUCA world. Most of you would know what this means is, but just to bring it up to the table, is VUCA world is nothing but it's it's a world where volatility, rapid, unexpected challenges, unexpected changes happening. Talk about technology, right? You had in the historical IT space huge mainframe servers, etc. Today, one technology called cloud came in, it kind of eaten away lakhs of jobs. So unexpected changes. COVID has come, unexpected changes. Everybody is working from home. Office spaces, rentals have become a challenging situation, or business situation of you set up your strategies to make profits is being challenged. So rapid, unexpected changes continue to happen, and they continue to happen today and even tomorrow as well. That takes me to being, what does it take to be uncertain? Uncertain is nothing but changes that you can't see, which in other words mean know the unknowns. You try to live in a world which is very, very uncertain. Blame it on technology, blame it on younger generations that are well equipped with knowledge and education, etc. But you live in a world of uncertain. I can't believe if somebody says I am completely living in a certain situation, a certain world. So somebody must be lying if you have to make such statements. Now move on to the ambiguity. Uh, Ambiguity is a very apt word, or apt quadrant for us to really understand, to know the to unknown to many, which is unknown the unknowns. Nobody would have anticipated COVID situation. Nobody would have, no organization would have predicted in their your year beginning plans or your budget plans to, let's say, 5% of my this year budget will go for COVID-19. Nobody would have done that. None of the world forums would have imagined that. Last but not the least, we live in a world which is very complex. Complex being multiple decision factors. That's because too many factors can hurt your business. Now, on your vertical side, how well can you predict the results of your actions? The strategy that you set up or the ideas that you have is not a big deal. But like the other speaker also called out, how well will you go and execute your plan? Now, for you to execute, there will be multiple reasons for you to fail, for you to be successful. So, question of being predictable in all of these quadrants is going to be the way forward for the entrepreneurs. And on the horizontal side, how much do you know about your situation? That talks about time. Are you talking about today's times, or does your idea talk about 5 years from now? Sorry, then I think business world is not so kind enough for you to go and tell them that my project will be delivered in the next 5 years. I don't think any businessman would invest in you. So, do you know your customer to that extent? Do you know the current problem or the current situation of the customer who wants you to solve this problem? So, to this effect, I would urge each of us to be the daredevil who's prepared to take the unknown risks, prepared to take venture into the unknown terrain. Right now, what does it take to be the daredevil? To start the daredevil journey, I think there are 9 key traits we can talk about. Let me start talking about from the vicious circle that we see here is the sense of urgency. We spoke about in the first slide, fail small and fail in time. Now, entrepreneurs, business managers, if they don't understand value of time, the sense of urgency, they call it as kill the seconds to make it happen. So every entrepreneur has to demonstrate one of the key traits in their entrepreneurship journey is to demonstrate do it now and right now. Okay, that sense of urgency will really take you a longer strides to forward. Live with the world of optimism. Now, many of you would have heard your friends, your colleagues, or your other business colleagues in the external world that there are fears of job loss, there are fears of making no profits, or there are fears of what would happen post COVID. So much of negativity, right? Now, as an entrepreneur, for you to see the business opportunity, you got to be optimistic. You got to be thinking of a mindset of, yes, things will move, that your turn also would come, right? That sense of optimism is one of the important trait to own as an individual and as an entrepreneur. Now, being an entrepreneur, having some idea is not a big deal, but how passionate about that idea that you have. You've heard about so many startups would come in, so many would have gone by the time you've known them and you would have visualized them. But the difference is how passionately do you drive. Do you give it up in the first failure? Do you give it up in the 10th failure? Or do you give it up on the 1000th failure? We all know Einstein, who said, I failed 1000 times to make the innovation that he did, right? So failures will happen, but how passionately do you drive your idea is a key here. Uncertainty tolerance, and your actions towards it. Your tolerance levels towards uncertain terrains is going to be really important. uh, if you are risk averse, if you are not prepared for the uncertain domain, then you got to be tolerant with yourself. Don't jump into conclusions uh, just because there's one failure or there is one unknown reason would have come and hit you hard. But you got to be having the tolerance levels which are high and plan actions from there. The other point here is curiosity. How curious are you about the idea that you have? Do talk to people about the idea that you have? Are you passionately driving the ideas behind the business value that you want to bring in? And don't be a backbencher to that extent. It's okay if people will laugh at you because you're being very curious. You ask all sorts of questions to address or to mitigate the number of risks that you would visualize for future. So it's okay to be curious. It is not for somebody to feel shy about it, but it's absolutely fine to be a first bencher and ask all those curious questions. Now, one has to be in their mindset, be systemic in thinking. Systemic thinking comes with planning. Systemic thinking comes with being strategic in nature, and this really helps you to prioritize your ideas and prioritize your execution plans. You can't be ad hoc in your thinking. You can't be suddenly changing your business plans every second day. So you have to be consistent with your plans, consistent with your strategies and your ideas, even for days to come. Believe in change. Like you would have heard 100 times from 100 different people, that change is the only thing that is constant. And I don't mind repeating the 100th one time in saying that change is the only thing that constant. And if you believe and believe it harder, it definitely helps you in being a successful entrepreneur. Now that takes me to in saying, now with all of this, if you are not in the current times that you are in, which means if you're not networking within your own space, be it your colleagues, be it your competitors, be it your mentors, whoever it is, right? You got to network. Today, networking is a lot more easier versus 20, 30 years back and ages behind, is because of the social media that's available and the digital platforms that are available. We know what it does wonders, right? So you got to be active networker. You can't be saying, I don't want to waste my time in social media or in the tools that are available. Then I think not traveling the right direction. So you got to be an active networker, and active networker in the digital space and in the social platform space. Last but not the least is to own the communication skills. I would say both written and oral. If you have a great idea and you can't express or you can't articulate your idea to your client, then sorry, I think somebody else with better communication skills would have done that. So I think keep thinking of these 9 successful traits, not just being innovator and but being a successful entrepreneur. So your journey will have to have a combination of all of these 9 traits. I tried to jump on without too many examples because I was consciously waiting for my timeline. And wishing you to be the daredevil you wish to see yourself. Now, again, let me harp on one more time like a parrot and say, keep trying. Don't regret for trying multiple times, and try as many times. Okay, don't give up. Right. So with that, I'll stop, and if time permits, I will take one or two questions. Otherwise, I'll take a pause.
Yeah, thank you, Rayapu sir. That was such a wonderful session.
Sure.
So there are a couple of questions, more than few.
Okay.
But since we are already lacking in time, can we take those questions in the end? Anuradha ma'am said she will answer all the questions that are towards the end.
Okay, I don't need to be there in the call?
No, that is fine, sir.
Absolutely. Okay. Thanks a lot, and thanks for your time, Vishnu, and the participants. Just for my knowledge, how many are there in the call today?
Today there are around 1,800 people that are live watching it right now, sir.
Wow.
But the floating crowd is more than 1,000 people that are watching every day.
Amazing.
Yesterday, views were more than 15,000 for yesterday's session.
Wow, amazing. Keep going. You guys are rocking. Thanks a lot, man. See you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome.
Moving on to our next session. So it is into entrepreneurship. So the next session will be hosted by Ms. Anuradha Thota. She is the founder of Blackbuck Engineers Private Limited, which was established in 2013. She is an ISB alumni of 2010 batch. So her main focus is building highest quality formal education for executives and students. Her fundamental interest lies towards higher education and re-engineering. Her work as an entrepreneur spans emerging technologies and large-scale educational improvement initiatives, developing programs that support educational transformation and providing leadership in educational innovation. So, over to you, Anuradha.
Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you so much. Hello, students. Good afternoon. Hope everything, the sessions that Shiladitya and Rayapu, they are actually primers to what we are going to talk today. So, entrepreneurship is a tough subject. Actually, nobody can really make an entrepreneur. Some of the attributes that Raipu has mentioned, the qualities that an entrepreneur should have, the qualities, or few of them are inherent. At least things like how committed you are or how resilient you are. That means whatever kind of pressure comes to you, you don't budge in. So how resilient you are. So these are the qualities that you will have to develop. And before that, Shiladitya has also given a very good framework on how to there was a framework, right? He has a lean framework where you put all the points of your business into that. As I said again, entrepreneurship is not something that you can learn in a single day or a period of time. Few learnings have to come to you. However, there are many important points that you will have to know before you start, and I will give to you few very, very, very important stuff before we start off. You have to remember that an entrepreneurship course will be starting July 10th, and this course will really help you to understand whether you will be interested. Really interesting course. Everybody should develop these qualities because they are useful in entrepreneurial uh, skill set or entrepreneurial qualities will be very beneficial to you in everything you do, whether in career or whether you want to start up or whether in your life. For everything, that kind of resilience, strength, focus, all these things are very, very important. So let me share my screen. Okay, so what are we going to learn today? So as I said, there are these many subjects or these many topics that you will have to learn for entrepreneurship. We will be focusing on couple of things which are the stepping stones for entrepreneur, or stepping stones. You apply it even for your life, not only for a career, not only for startup. These things you have to apply, even you can apply even for your life. Okay, so the first thing is, what are we going to discuss today? I'm going to explain to you things like, how, whether you are ready for to be an entrepreneur. So there are some qualities or some background education that you need to have to become an entrepreneur. So whether you are ready to become an entrepreneur or not. Then we'll also discuss on how to generate an idea, from where you will get an idea, and how do you select the best idea for which you will have to start off. And then again, I'll also explain to you, you have to set up a vision, you have to set up a mission, and then goals. So how do you move step by step into entrepreneurship is what we'll discuss today. And I'll also tell you how many different topics that you will have to learn, which you will be learning in the subsequent days starting July 10th. Okay, who do you see on the, so I'll be asking this, let's make this very interactive, and if possible have a book and paper with you, book and a pen with you. I'll be giving you exercises in this next 1 hour. So if you keep working through as I tell you, it'll be really useful. Probably from there you can start off and continue your next sessions or your entrepreneurial journey. That will be the starting point. So the first one here on the screen, who you see, it's Mark Zuckerberg, and his net worth $28.5 billion. And when he was not even 30. And then Sergey Brin, Google. And then you see Jeff Bezos, $13 billion in 2013. Okay, and he's been doing so much, and now the net worth is $32 billion. Is it Larry Ellison? So now Larry Ellison, $48 billion, one of the first entrepreneurs, and first entrepreneurs who could go to that level. Okay, and then everybody knows Bill Gates. So he's topping the list of the net worth in this tech space. So this one, who will be having here? I would be expecting that I'll put your photo in next 5 years. I'm sure it is possible. So this photo is empty, but I want to put yours. Okay, so how do we go about it? First thing we'll know is what are the top mistakes a new entrepreneur makes. So that is what you will have to know. You can't learn everything on your own. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who have started, including myself, and have made so many mistakes. And most of the mistakes are common across entrepreneurs. And what are those mistakes? Let's have a list of all those mistakes. The first one is no vision. When you start off, many people I see that some people start with an objective, of course, they know what they want to do, but many people start with no vision. So they just want to do some business for the purpose of earning, say. So there is no vision on how big they want to make it, where they want to take it, what tech is needed, what marketing is needed. There is no vision or no plan of action for it. So that's how many of them start. Okay, and next is advice from too many people. So many people keep telling, you see new parents, right? If you have a very small baby, everybody will be giving advice of you have to look after like this, you have to look after like this. Even for young children, so if you're first class, second class children, everybody will give parenting advice. So it is not wrong, but that it's just their opinion. Okay, it is not applicable for anybody, for everyone. So it is similar. When you start up, everybody has an advice. Whether you have to take it or not, you need not be very arrogant about it. You need not ask them whether you have done it. The only thing is you listen, and how much ever is applicable to you, only that you take. Too much of advice is going to spoil everything in your startup. So second one is advice from too many people. Do not take advice from too many people. Choose whose advice you have to take. Especially, say, for example, you are starting a food business. You are going to take advice from an entrepreneur who is into food business. And again, what kind of entrepreneur? You go and speak to a person who is really big, owner of Starbucks. No, it doesn't work for you. He has gone through number of steps, and what he does now will not be the same that you have to do what you have to do now. You have to take advice of a person who is hungry and who is few steps ahead of you. Okay, so advice from too many people is another mistake that many people do, and not having a business plan. Most important, very, very, very important is many of students like you get into entrepreneurship without undergoing any kind of training. Without undergoing any kind of training. So if you want to start up a Pan Dabba person without an education has certain kind of mindset which allows him to set up a Pan Dabba and run it properly. But a person who is educated did not gather those principles in mind. A person who is educated, who is super talented, did not gather the principles that Pan Dabba Wala has taken. You need, if you are an educated person, and all the students who are in this conference need certain principles that will allow you to even start off as small as a small cafe to as big as Google. Anything, you need to know certain principles. So those principles, the little kind of tools, techniques that you will have to take up, that business plan, how you will have to draw a business plan, how do you do a marketing plan, how do you do marketing research. There are certain tools and techniques that you will have to actually look into before you start off. So you undermine, many entrepreneurs start off thinking that I know everything, I know what I am doing, but you need to have certain tools, techniques, principles that a formal course will teach you. So, okay, not having a business plan is another one. And too many products. What will happen when an entrepreneur starts off is he keeps meeting many customers. So I start with something. So this problem still happens with me. And with many, this is the most common problem that you will see across entrepreneurs, having too many products or too many variations of the product. So I start with a product, but I go to a customer, they will ask, why don't you do this? I need this. I go to another customer, they'll say, why don't you do this? I need this. So every customer is asking you a variation. As a small entrepreneur, as a startup owner, you will not be able to service so many variations of the product. Okay, you will have to make a decision about really you are going to make that change. Is this change required by many users? Is this change required by many customers? Is what you will have to see when you decide whether you want to change your product. Otherwise, if you think your product is right, and of 10 possible customers, five possible customers will take it in the form that you have to go ahead with that. Don't make too many changes to your products. It will become a nightmare. Okay. And the most important thing is becoming a CEO. Many people or young students or young people start off a company in LinkedIn. I see so many freshers having the title CEO. No, that's not the reason you are becoming a CEO. That's that adrenaline rush you will get by just titling yourself as CEO. You yourself are not convinced with that, right? Are you equivalent to a very big CEO who has lots of knowledge and lots of experience, who have at least 20 people reporting to them? You should yourself be convinced, yes, I am a chief executive officer. Okay, so becoming a CEO should not be a reason, and that will really, that fancy names, right? That those fancy names that will really spoil you. Do not have any fancy name till you become successful. Okay, and not being on ground. This is very, very important thing that you will have to learn. So you have maybe you have some good funds already, parents, or you have a funding agency or something like that you have, but still you have to be on the ground. You have to be on the ground. One, I don't remember the name, but one of the Tata companies CEO, he has mentioned he started as a door-to-door salesperson. He started as door-to-door salesperson because he wanted to know what is the response of the customer when I sell this. What do they say? He wanted to gather all those things. If you do not do that, you are just going to be angry with your salespeople on why they are not selling. If you know your product, if you know what are the objections of the customers, you will be able to work through it, fix those. Otherwise, it won't work. You have to know the ground reality. When you start off as an entrepreneur, say you inherit a business empire from your parents, that's a different story. But if you are starting as an entrepreneur, then you have to be on the ground. Do not just leave it on to your employees. 4 or 5 employees, ask them to go around and sell. That doesn't work. You have to be on the ground. So these are the top mistakes that I would say you will have to really keep in mind before you start. And the most important mistakes, two mistakes that students do is just for the title. Just for the title, don't start. Just for having the joy of that I have started up, don't start, because it requires a lot of patience and lot of hard work. Okay, so next, going to the next one, are you ready to be an entrepreneur? So those are the top mistakes, but are you ready? Rayapu has mentioned a lot of qualities or characteristics that a student should have to become an entrepreneur. So let us see 10 things that you have to learn before you become an entrepreneur. So you want to start off an organization, then you have to learn 10 things. One is learn to self motivate. Why you will have to learn to self motivate? The main thing that you will have to why you will have to self motivate is every day somebody will be telling you that this is not going to work. Every day somebody will tell you some problems. Every day a customer will tell you some problems. Every day you will have to you will have problems with the financing, funding, customer problems, and no delivery, no shows of employees don't come on time. So every day there will be problems, and every day somebody is going to tell you it is not going to work. The first important thing that you should have is you should be self motivated, and that too for quite long time. For a long time you should be self motivated. And the second one is save. Okay, so how do you get money to start up? You might be going for funding probably after some time, but for a period of time you can't get fund with for an idea is cheap. I will tell you this probably 10 to 20 times before completion of this presentation. Idea is cheap. Everybody has got ideas. Idea has no value. How well you can do, how well you can execute an idea is very important. And for execution, before you go for a funding, you still have to spend some money. So when you want to do something, when you want to start off something, you will have to save money, do some work, save money, do some work, save money. So after you complete your college, maybe you'll have to work a year, save that money and start off. So you should have some money backing, and that money also you have to spend very judiciously. Spend on very important things, like you learn something, spend on it. You will have to buy raw materials, spend on it. So spend very judiciously, save money. So that's the second important point. And what's the third important point? Learn. So you have to learn a lot. You have to learn a lot, because you know what, every entrepreneur tells you. You listen to the interviews of all the people that we have listed in the beginning. Everybody says that they will read before they sleep. They will definitely read. They know everything, they are in a position to tell everything, but we don't know everything. But we always are ready to teach or tell, but not listen. Okay, so the most important, third important thing is learn. Okay, so you will have to learn a lot before, read a lot, learn quickly. And what Rayapu was saying is fail quickly, fail well. So you learn a lot, keep learning. Today, what are the problems? Why I was not able to sell? What happened? What did the customer say? From that, what did I learn? You learn from it. Okay, so learn. Then you have sell. So why sell? What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is nothing but selling. Nothing but selling. Everybody, Bill Gates is a perfect person who can sell. Okay, everybody, Steve Jobs, and every person, Jeff Bezos or whoever, Elon Musk, whoever you tell, these people are the people who are able to sell. Most important quality that an entrepreneur should have is being able to sell. You are a perfect programmer, say you are able to develop something so fantastic which is equivalent to Google or which is Facebook. You are able to do that, but if you are not able to sell, doesn't work. Most important attribute that you will have to develop is sell, and you will have to start doing that. Start trying. It's everywhere, right? Everybody tells this. Sell the pen to me. Sell this pen to me, or sell this specs to me. How do you do that? Try that. Every way, try doing something. Selling. You sit in an interview. What are you doing? You are selling how well you can do work. You are selling how much you know. Everything is selling, right? How do you sell? You see, sell as number of things. You understand the benefits. You are able to speak it out very clearly. You are able to tell it out clearly. You are able to convince that other person. So sell is the most important thing that you will have to do. And then build an audience. The next important thing is build an audience. What happens in this current world? This is a new attribute that has come. You have to build an audience. Use Facebook, use LinkedIn, use Instagram, use whatever platform that your audience will go to. You will have to build an audience there. Keep giving good content, keep writing lot of stuff, keep posting images or keep posting YouTube videos, whatever you can within your own skill. You will have to start posting that. So you will have to build audience online compulsorily. What's the next one? Learn your strengths and weaknesses. What is learn your strengths and weaknesses? That's very, very important, because I personally have certain issues. I cannot do few things. I cannot especially talk money. I cannot talk money. It's a very big problem. So I hire somebody who is very money focused. So you will have to know what are your strengths on which you can build, what are your weaknesses on whom you have to hire. You have to know about yourself really well. Know yourself is another important aspect that you will have to. And the last important one is don't be afraid to be on death ground every day. What is death ground? Death ground is used in military, where they put the enemy pushes you to the wall. You can't go anywhere, but you'll have to live. Then you fight to win. So every day is going to be like that. Entrepreneurship is fancy after some time, after you become successful. Till that time, it's always death ground every day. Okay, so I mean, like, what I have mentioned is it is difficult, but it is very, very, very. See, once you become an entrepreneur, I'll tell you the benefits. Till now, I was telling, what are the problems, but tell the benefits. So you work hard for a year, you work hard for 2 years. Then what happens is, over a period of time, you just delegate. You will have so much time of yourself. So that's why I'm saying, if you meet somebody with 50-year-old or 60-year-old entrepreneur who is highly successful and follow him, you will end up only playing golf or watching movies, because that's what they will do over a period of time. They're highly successful. So an entrepreneurship test is like, if I give you a choice of, I'll give you an ice cream now, or I'll give you 5 ice creams tomorrow, which one will you choose? You write for yourself, which one will you choose? If you choose 5 ice creams tomorrow, then you are a good entrepreneur. You can become an entrepreneur. If you cannot wait for 5 ice creams tomorrow, you are happy with 1 ice cream today, then you are not an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is something you work hard today so that you will be very, very happy tomorrow. You will have huge benefits, huge benefits. I mean, it is multiplier effect with your hard work. Otherwise, if it is a job, what will happen? You will work hard. Most of the works will be happy. It's not that all employees are sad. Our employees are very happy. So it's employees also can earn, but it's not that multiplier effect. You will have huge multiplier effect when you are an entrepreneur. So try it. The best age for you is now. Otherwise, then you will have a lot of responsibilities. Lot of people will say, no, aisa nahi chalega. It's not good like this. So you will have to earn immediately. You will have many basic things that you'll have to meet every month, right? So over a period of time after that, it's not possible. Good time is now, or good time is next 2-3 years. After that, it will be a little bit difficult. Or you save and do, then it is fine. You save money for yourself and your family, then you start off entrepreneurship, then it is fine. But have a plan. But the best time is soon after. Maybe 1 or 2 years you work and then start. That's the best time. Okay, and don't, this we have gone through. So what you should learn as an entrepreneur? You should learn lots as an entrepreneur. I have listed down, see, you have to know marketing, sales, branding, methodologies, distribution, and what channels, products, planning, strategy, logistics, operations, human resources, legal, accounting, financing, and hundreds and thousands of other things you have to learn as an entrepreneur, and it will become natural for you. It's not, oh my god, this many, this doesn't happen to me. It's not like that. You can learn all this. This happens to you every day. Every day you will put hand in one or the other things when you are doing entrepreneurship. The basic thing is, if you know what this is and then consciously you work every day towards that, it becomes easier for you as an entrepreneur. The failure rate comes really low when you know what all of these are. And all of these, right, you understand as a consumer. You buy so many things. You buy land, you buy a house over a period of time. Now you buy from Flipkart, so you buy so many things. Even as a consumer, even as a buyer, even as a student or an employee, all these things make sense for you in entire life. So that's why if you see, MBAs are quite different, right? MBAs are quite different when you compare with engineers. That's because they know all these things. They can see their perspective or thinking is totally different when they speak to other people, when they speak to customers, when they speak to everything, business, everything is different for them. The worldview is different for them. So these are the basic things that you will have to understand as a graduate. Even if you graduate as an engineer, these are the basic things you will have to understand, and then everything will be easy after that. As I said, as an employee, as a human being, as a consumer, as an entrepreneur, for anything, this will become very easy for you. Okay, so how does entrepreneurship start? So as I said, have a book and pen with you. I'll have some exciting exercises which we can continue later after July 10th. So everything starts with an idea, right? Entrepreneurship starts with an idea. But how will you get an idea? How will you get an idea, and how will you know which idea you have to pursue? In your mind right now, you will be having hundreds of ideas. Which one will you pursue? Many people, even first year engineering students, when I go, no, they tell so good ideas. But what happens, once we have conducted in a college ideathon, and then we said all these ideas, 100 ideas, we will develop as prototypes. We'll help you develop prototypes. Ideas were superb. 100 ideas have come. Okay. Each person has more than one ideas. Maybe 500 ideas have come. They selected one idea. But when it came to developing prototype, nobody was interested. I'm saying idea is cheap. Everybody gets ideas. But are you able to put little bit more effort to develop a prototype, little bit more effort to market it? Okay. So how do you get this best idea to start off an entrepreneurship so that the rate of failure can be minimized? How will you do that? How will you get that? Okay. So what kind of industries are there around? What kind of companies that you can start? What kind of entrepreneurship you are interested? Let us have a look at it. Okay, first thing is where you get ideas from. The first one is problems. So one of the student has told me that his first year, engineering first year, he is from a rural background. He was saying there will be the buffaloes around in his village will be pierced with hot iron rods so that the owner will identify this is my buffalo. Okay, so he was saying, ma'am, I feel so bad, looking at this procedure. Can we come with an idea where I will have an RFID tag to the ears of the buffalo, and then the owner will know where his buffalo is, this is my buffalo, everything he will know. Can I do that? Okay, see that mindset you should have. You see a problem and then you identify, okay, this is a problem which I can solve. Okay, then changes. There will be lots of changes happening in the world right now. It is COVID time. So COVID time, everything has changed. How people work, how people learn, how people treat treat their diseases. Everything has changed, right? So this change, how you can find out ideas to accommodate this change, that's the point. Then inventions, there are so many new things coming. So all the biomedical organizations are in a process of getting a COVID vaccine. So what should they do now is their main problem. So they all find out opportunity in the situation. Okay, that's where you will find ideas. And then competition. So organizations, not for the startups or startups also, what they do is they will have a look at competition. Okay, competition is doing this, let me also do this. When you have a strong competition is when you grow. Pepsi and Coke, both of them tell that we grow because of the other organization. Pepsi tells I grow because of Coke. Coke tells because I grow because of Pepsi. Why? Because they'll have to look at the competition. And if the competition is doing well, I have to do well. Competition is such important aspect for anybody, even for an organization or for a sports person or for an athlete or for any individual who want to grow, who works on challenge. Competition is super important. If you don't put a benchmark, then what you will compete against? So competition is super important, and from there you will get lots of ideas. And then technological advances, so that's many things. So you think I know artificial intelligence or data science. This interests me a lot. Let me find out what I can do with this data science knowledge. So the technological advances is another place where you get ideas from. So all these add to your ideas from ideas. So think about it. So you think on each of those technological advances, think about what are the new things, what is the new situation with which I can do something. Think about all the problems around you, and then you will get the new ideas. But all ideas you cannot pursue. You will have to understand which idea is worthy pursuing with the circumstances that you have, your background, your family background, your cultural background, your town or city, what are its strengths and weaknesses. There are certain frameworks which we'll see after July 10th, but you will have to understand the entire environment around you to choose which idea to pursue. So, guys, first, the next exercise in your paper, you write down what are the different ideas that you currently have in your mind. Now we will understand what are the different sectors. There are 4 kinds of sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, and quaternary sector. What's primary sector? Primary sector is the most basic things from the usually probably what you get from nature. The raw materials, agriculture, all these things are primary. So, what is secondary? What you take from the primary sector and process it is the secondary sector, like the manufacturing, construction, these are secondary sector. Next is the tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is the service industry. You help these sectors. So, you help these sectors. You help secondary sector, you help primary sector is tertiary sector, services. Like IT services organization, say Wipro or Infosys, they help product companies who are developing products. Those are the tertiary sector. And the quaternary sector is intellectual services. That means the consultants who will tell you, okay, you run business like this, then only you will be able to do. These are the intellectual services. They're the quaternary sector. Primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary. Unfortunately, guys, the primary sector earns least, which is most important, earns least, and quaternary sector earns most. Okay, so that you remember. You see which one appeals to you most. Will this raw material like mining, does it appeal to me? Timber, does it appeal to me? So you'll have to see which one appeals most to you. And then secondary, no, I like to build big dams, I like to build big complexes, then it is secondary. So you think about which sector you will like to do. Okay. Next, see which industry. Another important parameter that will help you decide your idea is industries. See, I have listed all the industries. In the sense, maybe these are some 10% of the industries. I cannot even list all the industries. I have just put down all that came into my mind: aerospace, agriculture, fishing, timber, tobacco, chemical. pharmaceutical, computer, software, construction, defense, arms, education, energy, electrical power, petroleum, entertainment. No, I have another page. Aerospace, music, film, financial, insurance, food, fruit, healthcare, hospitality, information industry, manufacturing, automotive, electronics, pulp and paper, steel, shipbuilding, and then media, broadcasting, news, publishing, internet, mining, telecommunications. So these are all the industries. Just understand each of these industries and see which one you like most. Usually it will be influenced by where you are. Say if you are in Vizag, you will be influenced by what is happening across the harbor, maybe by steel industry. So you will be influenced by your environment, but still there will be something which you like. But I think this film and sports is across everywhere. But otherwise, just think around, see around, and see which industries will influence you most. Okay, then what kind of entrepreneur you want to become? Do you want to develop a product on your own? Say, I want to do product. I want to know Blackbuck stands for this. I have a product. Blackbuck's Center of Excellence is great. That's what I want to know. In the similar way, somebody wants to do this. Milton wants to say, Milton's flasks are best. They want to develop a product. Then service. Service industry is various kinds. Say if I take Infosys, they will say I am CMM level 5 service company. That means my service is perfect. If I give a service in 1 lakh, I will have only one error. 99,999 times I don't have error. So service sector you have. Then you have expertise sector. This is my favorite kind. I'm not that, but my favorite kind. Say for example, you are an interior designer. You are an expert interior designer. You start something around interior designing. When you start around interior designing, you get a project. You do it very well. And that person will refer to somebody. Then you get 2 projects. And that also you will do very well. Then you will get 4 projects. Now you can't do any. You can't do all by yourself. You need another person. So you hire another person. Then you get 10 projects. You hire another person. That's how you grow. This expertise kind of business is the best business. You don't lose usually in expertise kind of business. Okay, you are a photographer, you are a beautician, or you are, say, BI analyst. You can be so many things, technically, non-technically, be an expert. Say for example, you can also be a trainer. So expertise based is the best kind. Then you go to consulting. Consulting is again intellectual services. As I said, you sit and say, you know everything, right? You have read through all so many businesses. Then you will say you have to run your business like this. You have to do this. You have to do that. Consulting kind of business. So you understand that business. You go as a consultant to a business and say, okay, that person will say, I am struggling with my profits. Then you will go and say, okay, show me all your reports. You will look at their balance sheet, you will look at their expenses, you will look at their income, and you will look at their market. You will say, no, you have to do this, you should not do this, you have to do this. So that consulting, you will be paid really, really, really very high. Okay. So from all these things, and most important thing is when you start a company, this is important from the government perspective. You have to register. What kind of company you will register? I have listed only 3. There are 6 to 7. I have listed only 3. One is proprietor. Proprietor means I am the owner. That's it. Me and my company is same. I am the owner. Me and my company is same. And then I will hire a few people if required. But what the problem is in that case, say for example, the company has taken loans and the company is not able to pay. Then they'll take the person's money. That is proprietorship company. You are completely liable for what all the business is doing. Private limited company has less liability. That means you are not liable. Company is different, you are different. Company, and also it should have at least 2 partners. That's private limited company. If the company has any problems, if the company has a lot of loans, then you are not liable personally. Company is liable. That's private limited company. Then public limited company where there are a lot of shareholders. every day they will talk in CNBC, they'll be giving the list of share prices up, down, all these things as publicly limited company. And then there are new forms like crowdfunding have come. That means you ask a lot of your college people, say you belong to a big college and you have got a fantastic idea, you present in your college, this is a fantastic idea, let us all together do this, and everybody contributes 50,000, say 100 people contribute 50,000, and then you start with 50 lakhs. All of you are owners. That's crowdfunding. Some crowdfundings are huge. That means they advertise in a portal. People who you don't know also invest. That kind of crowdfunding is also there. Okay. So there are different kinds of companies. So you will have to now understand which one. So what we have thought, what kind of companies, what kind of entrepreneur you want to become, what kind of industries are there in this world, and what kind of sectors are there. So having all these things and putting your ideas, now you will have to choose which one will you do. So this is the exercise time. What you will have to do is, from all these 4 or 5 points that I have mentioned, write down, I want to do work in this sector, I want to be this kind of an entrepreneur, I want to address this industry, I want to start off this kind of company, proprietorship company or private limited company. Write down that. Okay. Now, so now you have lots of ideas. As I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ideas you have. So these are the 8 ideas you have, you want to do. Which one will you choose to go ahead? Usually what we'll do, whichever we like most, whichever probably your mind is saying or your gut feeling says this is the best one to go forward. So that's not the right procedure to choose the best idea. No, you have these ideas now. What you should do next? This is one framework which you'll have to see. Feasibility, how far you can really do. Market differentiation, how well you are different from others. These are the 2 things that you'll have to do. And if you see on this graph, low to high, feasibility is low to high, value to the user low to high. Okay, if your feasibility is low, that means, can I do this really? Somebody has come up with an idea. One of the students has told me, I should have ATM machines. If I put dollars on one side, I should get rupees on the other side. The feasibility is very low because government doesn't allow it. Foreign exchange is a very regulated one, right? So it is not feasible. So you will have to see whether it is feasible or not. Then it is low feasible. High feasibility, how do you understand whether it is high feasible or not? You have your own strengths. You will have to list down, these are my strengths, these I don't know, but these I can get. So those things you will have to list down and see whether this is high feasibility or not. Then low to high, that value to the user, you have how much this user values this. So that is very important. That's my learning, right? I wanted to give very good knowledge to the student, and then student will become automatically very capable of getting a job. That's what my thought process was. But students told me, no, who wants your knowledge? I'll give you money, get me a job. That's what students told me. Okay, so you will have to see whether your product is really valued by the user or not. So low value to high value. Now in this quadrant, you see low feasible, low value, you don't do. High feasible to high value, yes, that's what you choose. Okay, other things are maybe. You will have to work on it. What all you need additionally to make it more feasible, you will have to choose. So the other side, again, here also you see market differentiation. How different are you from rest of the market? And how time to MVP. That means how quickly you can become profitable. So market differentiation and MVP, low to high, high to low. Here you have given high to low. So here you will have to see, again you will have to map and see, this is the quadrant I will work. See, so yes and yes. So all these ideas which you have, you will map onto this and choose only where you will have yes to be successful. Okay, maybe are also good, they are tough, but maybe are also good. But your wish, you can choose maybe or you can choose yes. Of course you should not choose no. Okay, now once you choose, maybe you got 5 to 6 ideas. Now in the S zone, you come to this sheet. In this sheet, this is an exercise for you. This is an exercise. List down your ideas and then put all this feasibility matrix and differentiation matrix. Put those ideas here and choose those ideas which have S, and then go to the sheet. This sheet is where it will help you to find out which idea is the best. How? Here on the top, you find out different parameters by which you will rate an idea. So idea 1, what is the size of the target market? Is it huge? Say for example, Jio, they're launching Jio. What is the target? 130 crore people. Everybody will take Jio. And level of competition. Who is the competition? That time when Jio was launched, Airtel was there, Vodafone is there, Idea is there, everything was there. What is the level of competition? You put there. Then ease of manufacture. How easily you can manufacture that. And time to market. When you start, how long will it go to each and every user that you plan to take it to? How long will it take? Like Jio, probably they have planned for a year, maybe. If you are starting small, you will have to just see how long it will take to get into the market. As Rayapu has mentioned, you can't wait for 5 years. If you have an idea, you will have to implement as soon as possible. And profitability and rate of return. Is the profitability high? In our classes from July 10th, we will be studying about how to do a business plan and how to see whether something is profitable or not. In that, you will cover what are the costs, what are the expenses, what are capital costs, what are operational expenses, and what are miscellaneous expenses. Then you will come to profit, and so all this will happen when we are making the business plan. So profitability and rate of return and tangible benefits to user. So most important thing is benefits to user. So you rate it out of 10. Out of 10, this is 8, this is 8, this is 7. You like this, you have it. So total you have put it here. Now you multiply it with the percentage weight. For me, see, as I said, important things is easy to manufacture, tangible benefits to user. These are important, so they have higher score. So this is totally 100%, right? 100% I have given different percentage to each of this. So you multiply with this and then you have a score of weighted score. When you multiply 9 with 20% plus 6 into 19% plus 5 into 5% like that, here your score has come 7, 6, 6, 8, 7. So you got a score. Now, which one will you choose? Which has the highest score? Now idea 4 has highest score. I will take this to the market. That's how you select an idea. Okay. So this is an exercise, guys. Pull out your idea, take your book and pen or Excel sheet. Try this. Okay. And lastly, this is very, very interesting one. Vision, mission, and goals. When you start your company, as I said, the problems that you will have, the pitfalls or the biggest mistakes that an entrepreneur has. The first one is no vision. You will have to write down vision, mission, and goals. How do you do that? Thinking inside out. There are 3 aspects to everything. What, how, why. There are 3 aspects to everything that you sell. So there are 3 colors. The outside is what, inside the white color is how, inside one is why. When I sell something, every time how I speak defines my success. How I speak defines my success. If I sell what, that means if I sell center of excellence will give blah, 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 blah to you. And then I will say, then I will go to how I will set up a center of excellence in your office, in your college. No, I have to tell you why. When I tell why do I want a center of excellence? Because I want every student to get superior knowledge in emerging technologies. That's what I want. Rest all I'm building around it. Why is the core. When you concentrate on your why, then everybody will understand. Otherwise, if you're selling just what, my center of excellence offers 2 courses, 5 workshops. Like this, if I sell, what will happen is still the mind of this buyer, what will happen is it will think something is not right. When everything seems to be right, still your mind says something is not right, right? So that happens when you are not selling your why. You will have to sell your why. When you sell your why, it will directly go to your feelings. When you say I feel this is not right, it's feeling, right? It's feeling. But when you say, somebody sells their why, you don't feel that. When somebody sells why, you want to buy it. So thinking inside out is very important. You start with why. Your vision will start with why. Okay? Why, how, what. It has to come like that. Okay, I will tell you some important vision statements. What is a vision statement is where your company aspires to go over a period of time, where your company aspires to go, what it has to finally want to do. Like my company's vision is that everybody should have access to premier education. Everybody should have access to premier education is my company's vision. Like this, I have put some visions, important visions here, very, very well written. Microsoft vision, really liked it. A computer on every desk and in every home is the vision when they started. When Bill Gates started, that was his vision. A computer on every desk in every home, and he did it. Okay. And Disney is to entertain, inform, and inspire people around the globe through the power of unparalleled storytelling, reflecting the iconic brands, creative minds, and innovative technologies that make ours world's premier entertainment company. That's their vision. World's premier entertainment company. There is an Alzheimer's Association, a world without Alzheimer's disease. That's their vision. So, guys, assignment, write down your vision. Your idea is done. Now write down your vision. And next is mission. After vision, when you come to mission is a little bit of how. You have a vision, how you will do is mission. So how you will do, here is an American Express example. We work hard every day to make American Express world's most respected brand. And the bottom one, Warby Parker, to offer designer eyewear and at a revolutionary price. So you have some detail, right? What you are going to do, not just the distant vision, but on everyday basis, what you are going to do is given here. We are going to sell designer eyewear, but at an affordable price, while leading the way for socially conscious business. So everything they have written in the mission. Okay, and write your mission statement. That's your next assignment. Goals is very important, how you set. So vision is done, mission is done, but if you don't go to that, vision is 10 years maybe, goals is probably monthly, and then you will have to go to daily. If you do all these things, then nothing will stop you. So goals, how do you set goals? Goals should be smart. Goals should be specific. SMART full form is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Specific goals should be very clear and very articulate, very well defined. I will give you a couple of examples. I will take another 5 minutes. I'm not sure if I'm running out of time. So specific goals, and then measurable goals include precise amounts, dates, whatever you will have to put. Measurable goals, give some number for your goal. Then attainable, don't put impossible things like next month I want to launch a space mission. Not possible. So set attainable goals and relevant goals, relevant to your business. And then time bound, give a date in next month. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. You will have to set a goal like that. So see an example here. The goal is win 6 new business accounts before the end of second quarter. Everything is given. What is specific? Win 6 new business accounts. What is measurable? 6. How do you get 6? You will do 12 proposals. Maybe 50 prospects you will touch, and then you will present to 12 people, and then you will get 6. That's measurable. Achievable. Why is it achievable? Maybe we do not know. If we are saying 6 new business accounts, maybe they did 3 last year, or maybe they did 5 last year. Only then it becomes attainable. Okay. And then relevant. The relevance, probably it is for their own business accounts, in the sense their own business accounts. And then time bound. When they are saying end of second quarter, win 6 new business accounts before the end of the second. If you write a goal like that, then it becomes mostly achievable. Pay off $10,000 in debt within 30 months. Probably you can put for yourself, I want to pay off debt this much, $10,000. How? When? In 30 months. What? In the business debt. So write those goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. For your business, we have written idea. We have evaluated the idea. Now you have a vision. Now you have mission. Now you write a goal. Right? So there's a business plan. So all this Shiladitya has explained. He's got a business plan. He showed you the lean methodology, right? Where you can put this business plan as problem, as solution, as market, competition. There are so many different kind of frameworks that you will have to learn. There is something called SWOT analysis, there is something called pest analysis, there is something called Porter's 5 forces. Some basics you will have to know if you want to be an entrepreneur. And as I said, even if you do not want to become an entrepreneur, even for life, these are really, really very, very valuable. Your total perspective and view of the world will change with this. Okay. What's the time? 4? 12. Okay. Fine. So entrepreneurship course as a course, these courses will not be boring. The courses will be very, very exciting, because you will be worked through case studies, like how Shiladitya has explained, right? He has explained through Airbnb case study. So these courses will never be boring. Every day will be with a very good case study on how you'll understand. If you want to do a SWOT, then there will be a case study. Probably you'll write SWOT of Pepsi. Then you will write SWOT of your own organization. Okay. So every class will be based on a case, and it will be really exciting. It won't be boring, not a single day. So there will be, so all this will be taught to you. There will be around 6 days where we will be talking on this each day. So the day 1, you will be having entrepreneurial climate in India, how you will have to start, what kind of the good case studies, what kind of entrepreneurs have become successful. And day 2, you will be having strategic frameworks, vision, mission, SWOT, PEST, competitive strategies, value chain analysis. And then day 3, you will be having selection process, optimization of costs, financial statements. There will be so much you will have to know on financial statements. Say, for example, you have to develop a pitch deck. Just with this course, you will be able to develop a pitch deck and pitch it to venture capitalists or angel investors who want to invest with you. Okay, and managing people. How do you manage people if you have even 2 people? Even if you're 3, even 10 or 100, how do you manage people and get performance from them? Day 4 is support systems for entrepreneurs. What kind of support do we have? What banks give? What others give? What is the government giving us? What are the sources of finance? How do you get venture capitalists? And banks, how do you get loans from them? So how do you get assistance from the government? All this will be discussed on day 4. And then you'll also have, very important thing is the marketing. So marketing support and e-commerce, opportunities and problems in e-commerce. How do you have to communicate? What ethics? So all these things. Marketing is a little bit deeper subject. How do you price? How do you look at the competition? How do you do marketing research? How do you do digital marketing? It's a little bit of deeper concept. And then day 6 is customer care. When you start delivering, you need to do customer care. How do you handle complaints? So business etiquettes and some soft aspects, like how should be your body language. So all these things will be taught on day 6. So this is a complete course, a mini MBA, I would say. This is a mini MBA that you can complete to this. So don't miss the entrepreneurship course. It will start on 10th of July, and it will be 6-day course. And it will be a fantastic one with lots of case studies, total new perspective of the world you will be getting after that course. Okay. And this entrepreneurship course is only for the people who are part of the Center of Excellence. And thank you guys. A lot of people have enrolled for Center of Excellence in past 2 days. A lot of people have enrolled, and as you know, for the first 1,000 people, we are offering a free internship, and we will live up to our promise. We will be providing them free internship, guaranteed internship with premier companies and startups for all these people who have registered the first 1,000. So this will be as part of the Center of Excellence for the members starting July 10th. So don't miss it. That's the entrepreneurship course. Sorry, I have taken 10 more minutes after time 4 p.m., but we have started a little bit late and everything was running a little bit late. So I will hand it over to Vishnu.
Yeah, that was a wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you so much. So can you please answer the questions as well
Okay.
that are posted in the Zoom video?
Can you read out, please?
Sure. Just a second. Yeah, the kind of questions that we got since the beginning are, how can we know whether our idea is worth executing or not?
How can we know whether an idea
is worth executing or not?
Is worth executing or not? That is where the framework comes into picture. I have given you the spreadsheet, right? Before the spreadsheet, there are also certain matrices where you can see quadrants, whether something is feasible or not, how much time you will require to develop, whether it is really feasible, what resources you will need, your country environment, does it support or not. There are few parameters that you will have to evaluate. So with the list of those, you will have to come up with a number, whether it is possible or not. So when you list down all your ideas and come up with those numbers, anything with a number greater than 6 to 7, you can implement that. It is possible.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So the next question is, how to improve our thinking in order to improve a business strategy?
So that's what I told initially. There are certain frameworks and principles that has to sit in your mind. And courses like this, like entrepreneurship, you can read books if you want. There is something called Blue Ocean Strategy. There are some certain good books. Good books is not a problem at all. If you search top 10 books on entrepreneurship, you will get. Otherwise, we are here, a course is starting, we will ensure that you get all these frameworks into mind. Once, the way we teach is a case-based methodology, right? You don't need to mug up a case. When we explain that, these principles become common sense. So you will be able to actually, without using framework, you will be able to come to a judgment on whether something is right or not.
So yeah, the next question is, what kind of businesses are good nowadays?
What kind of businesses? So every business, if you're really passionate about it, you can make it successful. But if you want to see what businesses are getting successful these days, most of the business is running around e-commerce and internet.
So the other question is, what should be the ideas and strategies to be a successful entrepreneur? I hope you answered that already. So in the presentation, so moving forward, it is, what if a person is so passionate but they don't have an idea? How do they tackle that?
So passionate about what? What are you passionate about? So you will have to find out. I have also given you a list of where you can generate idea from. Ideas come from problems. So you will have to start observing things. If you really don't have an idea, start observing things. And if you have find a problem somewhere, quite a few people will be finding that problem. And if you fix that, all those people will buy from you. So keep observing what are the problems around you, which can be fixed, which many people are finding it as a problem. And you can really then start your entrepreneurial journey.
So the next question is, how to approach corporate or government to implement an idea?
Corporate, see, there are some corporates which help startups, but not many. So many corporates, what they do, they have CSR fund, like corporate social responsibility fund, but they give to very small people, like say people who rear cattle or for sewing machines, things like that. Corporate social responsibility really do not support big aspirational things like you. There will be venture capitalists, there will be angel investors. So if you want, you can approach something called Hyderabad Angels. Like this, there are many angel investors, there are many venture capitalists, but you will have to go with a solid plan. You don't go with a semi developed plan, you will never get a chance again. Okay, you have to really go prepared to these people. And government has some schemes around it. You can go to bank. There is something called Mudra loan, where they offer some 10 lakhs for startups. You should be able to convince the bank manager that you will be able to make money with your idea.
Yeah. So going forward, a person wants to start up a mobile industry. So they were asking whether they're suitable, what suggestions do they need or something like that.
The mobile industry, you will have to find what different features that you are bringing. So many people start, but still they are able to find a space, right? See, Micromax has started when so many are there, but they still are able to find. So everything, see, OnePlus, it is able to find a space. Everybody is able to find a space when they find out that particular audience. This is the audience I want to target and make it for them. Maybe if you are making a mobile very good at pictures and taking pictures or taking videos, it is useful for certain people. So you find out a feature where a lot of people are looking for a solution and make a mobile around it.
So
But these things require a lot of investment. You will have to remember that.
yeah. The other question is, reputed companies having vacancies in AI or data science, data analyst role are asking for experience in their recruitment. How can one get a job in this field without experience?
So you can get, and you should try for that. So how you will get experience is you will have to pursue internships very actively. So you will have to, from third year itself, find out. So many people, so this question I want to tell to many students is, many people when they say you have an internship, they will ask how much will they pay. They won't pay, because it is a service to you. They are helping you learn. You are not an expert. You are going to learn. It's a kind of learning. If they pay, it's well and good, but actually you will have to pursue any kind of learning in an organization, because the learning will be immense. Instead of the textbooks, instead of doing it on your own, if you go onto a internship, there will be 3 or 4 supervisors who will be telling you what to do. The number of attributes that change in you are also different. Not only the technical knowledge, but what you learn in an office is completely different. At any cost, do an internship. You pay or they pay or no pay, whatever it be, do internships. You have to get some experience before you go to an organization. You can do that.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So for the final question, which was addressed to you, what is the turning point in your entrepreneurship career? That is the $1 million problem that you solved that ultimately led to success now.
Okay, so $1 million problem, I won't say I have solved a $1 million problem, but I have really made, my vision is different. Actually, I said my vision is to bring world-class education to lots of people. That's my vision. And one of my program called Executive MBA program, it's called EMC2, Executive MBA program, or an MBA program. So that's one of the biggest turning point, because I moved into formal education through this MBA program, and I am able to give world-class education where even vice presidents, people with 0 years of experience like you, to people with 23 years of experience who are vice presidents of organizations where there are 50,000 people, have joined it. So we are giving their really, really good education in various things. They are students who are passed out are sent to customer facing roles. That means they will be sent to Canada, they are sent to Singapore to speak to the customer, because they have totally transformed. Okay, so people have got 100% hikes in their own organization. So the thing we were able to do through our MBA program is completely satisfactory for me. It's not a $1 million idea, because I'm not running behind money. I am running behind making change. That's my goal. So that is really a turning point for me.
Yeah.
And the Center of Excellence is another one which I saw. so much of quality education can reach to so many students, which I really like this idea, and I hope you also like it.
Yeah, that is what most of our problems and questions students are asking. The answer seems to be around the centers of excellence only. So can you just talk for 5 minutes about it and we'll end the session on that note?
Sure, I will do. Can you present that, Vishnu? Present the screen.
Present it, yeah. Just a second.
Okay, students, the Center of Excellence. I've been telling this, hope I'm not boring you. Center of Excellence is started with a vision of bringing industry closer to you guys, closer to all the students. So we will be bringing similar kind of people, right? Yesterday you saw, today Rayapu is HR head of IPM, and Shiladitya is chief business officer of Mobillium. And yesterday you also spoke to Rajat Vanchu uh, and Praveen. So many people. So I said we'll be bringing thousands of people of very high quality speak to you. People who are doing different things in their own organizations. All these you will land up anywhere from all these people. Those people are happy to give internships, happy to give jobs. So these are thousands of people we have who are ready to accommodate students in various positions, either be interns or as in entry level positions. And we also have tie up with HR organization called tomorrow. You'll be having that. Don't miss tomorrow, friends, because tomorrow it is for careers post COVID for students. How you have to prepare, how recruitment practices are going to change. All these are coming tomorrow. So there is panel discussion. Around 5 HRs will be talking to you. All are general managers and above. So don't miss tomorrow. So we have tie up with this organization called Hyderabad Human Capital Fraternity, HYHCF, and there are around 800 HR general managers who will be bringing you so many benefits so through their organizations. So what you see on the screen is is the benefits that we bring. As I said, my vision is to bring all that is very good for you through the industry and you get into very good jobs. My vision is to bring the best education to you, world class education to you. That's my why. Okay, then here is what will I bring you is 2 hackathons every year and 5 hands-on connected workshops, 1 workshop in artificial intelligence will be in July, and then 5 professional industry certified courses. One industry certified course, entrepreneurship, will be starting on July 10th, and another certified industry course, design thinking, will be starting on July 25th. So in July 2 courses will be starting. If you miss July, again you can do those courses in 2021 July. Meanwhile, there will be other courses that we will be doing. Okay, so you'll be getting 5 professional industry certified courses. You don't need to limit. In the next 12 months you can attend as many as you want. There will be couple of courses every month, and then 50 plus webinars and expert guest lectures like what we are having these 3 days. Every week we'll be having one webinar and expert guest lecture, and then 50 plus mock interviews. Every week there will be a mock interview where 4 students volunteer to get interviewed by the hrs interview them, and you will be able to learn from them how to talk, how to answer, what are the important questions they ask, how to prepare for the interview, and how to make your profile. So from basic to how to answer to the last mile of getting into an organization, everything you will know through these 50 plus mock interviews. And then you have 800 human resource professionals through Hyderabad Human Capital Fraternity, as I said. And most importantly, don't miss, guys. There are around 75,000 students in our network, and all of them will be moving fast ahead. And I don't want many people to remain behind. That's what the vision is, right? Every student should be having access to all of that. So I don't want students to remain behind. So just be with all of those people. It's so, what is 2000 rupees? All this you get for 2000 rupees for 1 year. What is 2000? It is 2 movies or 3 movie tickets, right? So as I said the other day, there are so many things that you can, the technologies you see, all the technologies you will be taught: AI, ML, blockchain, cloud, and then entrepreneurship, design thinking, process based, Six Sigma. There will be so many things that will be going on for technology and non-technology students. Okay, so that is about it. It looks like the screen is not seen for the students.
You can only share now if it is possible.
I have to share.
Yeah.
Okay, can I don't have it. Okay. It's fine, right? You are visible. I'm visible, but my screen is not visible, right?
That's all right, maybe for today. Then.
Okay, I think so, but I'm able to show it now. So yeah, thanks guys for the patience. I was opening this. So this is what you will get: 2 hackathons and student fest, 5 hands-on connected workshops, 5 professional certifications, webinars, mock interviews, and human resource professionals, and 75,000 students like you in the social network. So this is what you will get throughout the year. I explained to you each of this now. And how you become member is by registering at www.theblackbucks.com/register. So you will be, the admin will be giving you the link down under. So if you want to become member of this and pursue these both courses, don't miss these courses. Both design thinking and entrepreneurship are important, and both are starting in July. So don't miss the July calendar. A number of webinars and lots of mock interviews, courses, and even artificial intelligence workshop is starting in July. And then again, it will be quite some time before these courses repeat. So I would request you probably to avail this opportunity. Don't miss opportunity. Just the July courses itself are worth the amount that you will be paying, but you will be getting these services throughout the year. Okay. So any questions probably Vishnu can take related to the Center of Excellence?
Yeah, there are a couple of questions. Somebody wants to pursue MS. How is that Center of Excellence useful for that student? So
Okay.
This Center of Excellence membership is throughout a year. So there are so many connected workshops that are happening. So many. If you are part of the top 1,000 students, you will get to do an internship as well. So that internship will add value to you, and these workshops, these skills will add value for your higher studies as well. So that is something that is helpful for you. And like they said, you can reach out to us on this number that is provided in the footer. So more career counseling advice can be provided to you all. Okay. And so there is another Manoj saying, "Ma'am, I'm interested in learning technologies. May I take the membership?" Yeah, sure, Manoj. You can definitely go on and take the membership. If there's any query or any hesitation, you can please call on the number that is provided. We will be there to help you all. That's it for today, ma'am.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hope we added certain value today. And we will tomorrow, don't miss. It's a very important session for you specifically to prepare for your careers in the coming few months. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.